on verse 12, he furthermore goes into why his reasoning. He said, for as many had had as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. So he say, for as many have sinned without law shall also perish without law, right? So even if you don't have the law, you're gonna perish without it. I just seen something. He just told me. He showed me. Why? Cause. Oh man, I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. So. No matter if you learned the law or not, if the law is written on your heart, if he has engraved it on the inside of you, if he has placed it on the inside of you, you will know what's right. You feel what's right. It's inside you. It doesn't matter if you have a law or not. The law is for the ones who do not know what's right and what's wrong. So. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. My fault. Let's go back. So to number 12, verse 12. I'm going to start it over. So on verse 12, I'm gonna show you the similarities because when God showed me stuff, it's like math. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at it, right, it says, for as many as have sinned without the law shall also perish without the law. And then it says, and as many as have sinned. Okay. So the first line said, as many as have sinned, and the second line said, as many as have sinned in the law. So regardless if you sin without the law or you sin within the law, okay, shall be judged by the law. So regardless, you're going to perish without the law if you sin, and you're going to perish with the law if you have the law and you sin. So the problem is sin. It has nothing to do with the law. It has nothing to do with knowing the law or I'm sorry, you should know the law. We'll clarify that part. But in this part of what God is judging, it's not if you know the law, because you're going to see in the next part what it really is. It's that PRV, it's that heart, it's that middle part right there. It's the center, because God counts for them from the center and to the center. It's always the center, right? So you're gonna get this if you sin. Now let's go to part 13. So we actually gonna listen from 13 to 15. Let's hear this, because again, it's in parentheses in here.
For not the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles, which have not the law, do by nature the things contained in the law, these, having not the law, are a law unto themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness in their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another.
Pause. In this book, it told you the truth about everybody, because this is once again whosoever, right? For the Jew and the Gentile. You feel me? So it goes deeply into. For first of all, this is the key. First of all, is for not the hearers of the law are just before God, right? But the doers of the law. So the doers of the law are who shall be justified. Okay, so to be justified, I got to do it. I can't just talk about it. I can't just speak about it. I have to actually do it. Okay, cool. So for when the Gentile, which has not the law, so when a person has not the law, right? So if you never heard this before, don't worry, right? So for the person who has not the law, do by nature, right? What we looking at right now out here, nature. If you do by nature, Like a bird got to fly and a fish got to swim. And a child of God, he got to be a doer, right? So to be justified, he said, by nature, the thing that everybody say we all know, we see nature. How scientists say evolution, nature, right? By nature. The things which contained in the law. So without anything, without just being, he is just born that way, right? So if his nature, his being, his character, he is that way, right? He said, hold on, because I keep gotta jump back. Nature, the things that contained in the law, these having not the law, because they don't even got the law, they just doing it by nature, right? You say, are a law unto themselves. So they don't even need the law, because they keep their self in law. They keep their self right. They check their self. You get what I'm saying? So don't worry about others. Like I tell my daughters, I say, worry about yourself, right? I tell them, worry about yourself. He said they keep the law themselves, which show the work of the law written in their hearts. So you don't even need it to, it's not even written on paper. They can't run away from it. It's like their self. Like I told you earlier, you can't even run away from it. It is in them. You can't run away from what is in you. He said the show is written in their heart. Like I told you, PRP, pressure reducing bile. It reduces the pressure in their life, the stress in their life, by nature, just by doing the things of the law by nature. Their conscience also bearing witness. So not only do they do it by nature, because they were born to do it, right? Because they were born and they were created to do it. Like a bird is born, it's supposed to fly. Unless you're a penguin, you're supposed to swim. He's born to do it by nature. He's a bird, but he's still born to do it by nature. He's born to swim. He's born to fly, right? He says their conscience also bearing witness. So inside them, they bear witness of the writing of the things of the law and how it works. Inside them, they bear witness. They in their thoughts that mean while accusing let me start over. Their conscience also bearing witness, right? And their thoughts, the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. So in their thoughts, they either accuse or excuse. And they do it by what is written, by nature inside them. What is right is always going to be right, and what is wrong is always going to be wrong. I don't got to go to I could go to a whole nother country with people that I do not know, can't even speak the same language. But I know one thing. I know they can tell the difference between right and wrong as a human. There's certain things that we just all agree upon is right and wrong. And sometimes people who know the difference and even understand the difference and still choose, that is you still choosing, and you know, because it's written on the inside. It goes on to 16, right? And when it's written inside you, right, that forgiveness comes easy because you know that God forgave you. And the reason the law is written is because you know somebody gave you forgiveness. Somebody else showed you that. And because of that, I give you this. I give you grace. Because God showed me mercy, I give you mercy. Not because of what you did, not because it didn't hurt, and not because it isn't right. But on the inside, you just know that I'm blessed just to be here. And whatever hurt or whatever problem that person did or done to me, I probably done wrong to somebody else, and I would want them to forgive me. So I'm gonna forgive you because I know I'm gonna need some forgiveness in the future, and I know God knows all. So if I forgive you, one day I might mess up, and because He knew that I did, because He said He's a good King. Who I'll tell you that later in a second. But because I forgave you when I did, one day I might need some mercy, and God may place on that heart to forgive me, and that be like in the story of the king who had a servant that owed him. Let's just say, I can't remember exactly, but let's say, I know it's in there. Let's just say $10, $10,000, right? And the king, he went to the king, and the king said, you know, I owe this, and the man begged and said, please don't send me to jail, don't unalive me, don't send me to jail, please. And the king forgave him and said, go on. And that same servant, right? That same servant, I'm paraphrasing, that same servant went to another servant that owed him money, and he only owed him $1,000, right? And he said, pay me or I'm gonna send you to the jail. And the dude said, please forgive me, give me some more time, I will get you all of what you owe. And the dude said no, and he sent him to jail. And then the people around who seen both of the situations, the servants around that seen both of the situations, brought it back up to God. And I mean the king, right? And he was a just king. So he went back to the servant that owed him the money, and he said, you low and wretched servant, because he was hypocritical, right? He wanted mercy, but yet he did not give mercy. He was hypocritical, which is taught in the beginning of this chapter, right? He didn't even want to give what he wanted. He said, you low and wretched servant. He said, I forgave you of much. You couldn't even forgive him of little. You will repay to the uttermost farther. Now, I'm paraphrasing. That wasn't me reading directly, but that's me from heart, from remembering of the stories of and how it plays. Do unto others as you would like done unto you, because God sees us all, and He will give you what you do. Let's go to verse 16.
In the day when God shall judge the secrets of men by Jesus Christ, according to my gospel, behold,
So 16 goes into, in the day when God shall judge the secrets of men, right? So this is the day that God shall judge the secrets of men. The inside stuff, just to let you know, that's what the secret is. You can't, the stuff other people can't see when they look at you, right? He says, by, let me tell you who's doing it, by Jesus Christ, according to my gospel. This is the gospel, right? It goes into 17. We're going to listen from 17 down to 21. 17 down to 21. 17 through 18. I mean 17 to 21, I'm sorry.
behold, thou art called a Jew, and restest in the law.
He said, behold, thou is called a Jew. So everybody who's called a Jew, he's talking to you. Cool.
Makest thy boast of God, and knowest his will, and approvest the things that are more excellent, being instructed out of the law, and art confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind.
So he goes into saying that you doing all the good stuff, the Jew, right? He says you approveth the things that are more excellent, and being instructed out of the law, right? And are confident that thou thyself art a guide of the blind, and a light of them which are in darkness. He says, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes. This is what you are confident at, right? He say, which has the form of knowledge and of truth in the law. In the law. So they have all that information in the law, right? Cool. And then it goes on to say, because you are confident, right? You are confident that thou is a guide. A guide teaches, like a teacher. They guide you through school to the next grade, right? So he says that you a guide. He said, thou, therefore, which teaches another, teachest thou not thyself? He say, if you teach somebody else, you don't teach yourself. So I know when you a teacher, you got to continue education. They got to continue going to school to learn more things to teach the new generation. So he's saying, even in this way, this is a question. I'm sorry. It says he's questioning, thou, therefore, which teaches another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preaches a man should not steal, does thou steal? So he questions again. He says, if you preaches a man should not steal, right? Jew, right? He says, does thou steal? This is a secret thing. This is something, if you a thief, you ain't never gonna get caught. You're not supposed to get caught, or you're not a thief, right? So this is something in the secret, right? This is something in the spot that's hidden, right? And it goes on to say, it has more questions, right? It says, thou that sayest a man should not commit adultery, right? So if you're saying somebody shouldn't commit adultery, does thou commit adultery? Question mark, right? See, God got math with his. So this is like one question, two questions. Okay. Thou that adulteress abhors idols, does thou not commit sacrilege? Obviously, that's the comparison to idols. My English is not the best, but God worked me through it. You feel me? Moving on. So basically saying, do you abhor of idols? Do you have any idols in your heart? Do you have anything basically that you put above God and the law in the heart? You get what I'm saying? What's right? Do you have anything that you put above what's right? Do you have anything that you can be paid for? Let's say it like that. Do you have anything that somebody say, oh man, this thing right here, if you give me $1 billion, I'll do it. If you give me all the money in the world, I'll do it. If you can have all the riches in the world, I'll do it. If there's anything that you can be sold for, that can make you put God second for, it is your idol. If it could be your race as well, just to let you know. For if you would hurt another race, better yet, if you see two of your races jumping on a innocent other race, and because the other race is against you, You do not stand in and stop them because it's wrong, right? And you either join because that's your race, that's your team, or you sit and watch because that's your race and that's your team. You are doing the same thing just because you put that above what's right and what's wrong. What God says is right and what God says is wrong. If another race or another person was hungry, no matter what race it is, if it's your enemy, don't care if it's your same color and it's your enemy and they are hungry, you say feed them. If you put anything that will make you do, I even tell my kids, put it this way, because I'm gonna tell you this, off that one, feed them. If your enemies are hungered, feed them, and if they are thirst, give them thirst. I used that one with my child one day and it worked. I tell you that another day, but it worked. So if you use this, right, it works. I'm getting off topic, I'm so sorry. But what's right by God should go above anything that you do. Even things that you want to do or need to do, anything do it, go above all the things is right or good in your sight of line of what you want to do. In the end of your life, do you want to be called a good person or a wealthy person? And good ain't gonna get you into heaven, but you get in this context. In this context, good is. In this context, it is. So do you want to be called a good man or a rich man? Do you want to be called a good man or a strong man? Do you want to be called a good man or a man who has endless riches, or a man who has endless women, or a man who has the biggest house? Or do you want to be called a good man? Could any of them things be replaced with being called? Could any of them things be replaced with God saying good job? I'm telling you it can't, but you gotta go figure that out yourself. But I'm just telling you, if you have anything that you put above him, that's an idol. Right is right, wrong is wrong. If you have anything above what's righteous, if you have anything above what's right, that is what he's talking about. Anything above what God says is right, that's putting it before him. Anything. So it goes on to say on part 23, verse 23 goes on and says, "Thou that makest thy boast of the law, thou breaking the law, though breaking the law dishonoreth thou God." We're gonna put all this together because you're only supposed to boast about God, and yet they're boasting about the law. Nah, it says, man, I just gave you the answer right there, man. Boast about God. The law is the law. The law was given by God. God is the maker of the law. That's like saying you'll rather have the law than what can change the law. What made the law? What is the standard of the law? The reason the law exists is because of the standard. The reason the law even exists is because of God. What is good? Let's go on. 23.
Thou that makest thy boast of the law, through breaking the law dishonorest thou God. For the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written, "For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision.
Pause.
There-
So like it said, thou makest thy law, thy boast of the law. So they boast of the law, right? The Jew, right? And through breaking the law, dishonor God, because they're showing the Gentiles that they showed them, right? It went to the part where it says, for the name of God is blasphemy among the Gentiles through you. So the people who wrote the book, the Jews, right? So through you, the name of God is blasphemed among the Gentiles, as it is written, right? So that is for circumcision verily profits if thou keepest the law. So 24 ends with as it is written, right? We're going to listen to the rest from 25 to the end of the chapter. And 25 to the end of the chapter shows how good God is, because I know a lot of people who, wonder, where are you going to go? What happens if you don't know? If you're not in church, if you're not a believer, if you're not well, you gotta believe in order to even get this far. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people who ask about what about the person who didn't know. Let's just call him the person whosoever did not know. This is how fair and how good our God is. Listen to the end of this. Listen how he rock out on the end of this. 25.
If the uncircumcision
Hold
keep
on.
the right,
Hold on.
or circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keep the law. But if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision which is by nature, if it fulfill the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision dost transgress the law? But he's not a Jew, which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew, which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter, whose praise is not of men, but of God.
Amen. Let's break this down. What this is saying in entirety, fair is fair. Just is just. Just gets a just reward. Evil gets an evil reward. That's what it is. No matter if you know the law or no matter if you do not. Because the law on a just person is written in their heart. The faithful, the just shall live by faith, right? So before they was writing, because even Adam didn't have no writing, right? He was the first one. If he had writing, he could have read what he was did and just not did it, right? That's what I thought about. Therefore, this how you break it down though. This how fair he is. Cause the Jew might think that they get everything regardless, right? But we all God's children. Jew or not, God created us, right? It says, therefore, if the circumcision keep the righteousness of the law. I'm sorry. I jumped to. For circumcision very profit is if thou keep the law, right? So if they keep the law, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcised, right? So even if you got circumcised, if you break the law, you're uncircumcised. That's a physical thing that you did that can never be changed. But yet, if you break the law, you are uncircumcised to God. You're cut off. You get what I'm saying? Oh, that came out. That's just freestyle. So look. So then it goes, therefore, it says, so therefore, we know what therefore is. If the uncircumcised, right? So which is by nature, as we gonna say again, which is by nature, right? Because uncircumcision is by nature. You have to cut something, you have to change something in order for you to become circumcised, right? So therefore, if the uncircumcised keep the righteousness of the law, so if the uncircumcised keep the righteousness of the law, shall not this his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? So what he's saying is, he physically did not get circumcised, right? Like a Jew. But yet, he has circumcised the sin. He has cut out his old heart. Or I'm sorry, he never even had to cut out his old heart, because his heart, right? His heart already keeps the righteousness of the law. So his uncircumcision physically is counted for what his circumcision that the Jew needed. That the I'm sorry, I said Jew. I'm so sorry. No, that the lawbreaker needed. The lawbreaker is the one who needed that, right? So, because if you keep the law and you got circumcised, you're still circumcised in the heart, right? But if you're a breaker of the law, so the breaker of the law is the one who is uncircumcised, right? So his physical will not be counted. His blood, his skin, his religion will not be counted, because he's already circumcised in the heart. He's already by nature. He came in the earth that way. By nature, he's at heart. He keeps the law at heart by nature. He can't help it. He can't change being good. So go on. Let's go on. Shall not his uncircumcised be counted for circumcision? And shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature, if it fulfills the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law? So it says, and shall not uncircumcision, which is by nature. So if it shall not by nature, if it fulfills the law, right? So by nature, if it fulfills the law, judge thee, who by the letter and circumcision does transgress the law. So the Jew who by the letter and circumcision transgress the law. That was a question. So the one who fulfilled the law, basically, judge thee, the one who transgressed the law. He says on 28, he says, for he is not a Jew, which is one outwardly. He said, because y'all think he's not a Jew, right? He's not a Jew by blood. That's what he's saying to you, right? Neither he's a Jew in circumcision, that is circumcised. This is messed up. So he neither has your law and he neither has your circumcision, right? Which is outward in the flesh. There you go. In the flesh, which he tells us to stay out of, right? He says this is outwardly in the flesh. 29. he ends with this. That's that but again. But, this how he ended. He always ended good for you. He said, but he is a Jew. Which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart, in the spirit, and not in the letter. It's not in the law. Whose praise is not of men. Now, I'm gonna tell you, so he took all this to tell you this is what blew him. He says, whose praise is not of men, for men write the letter, right? The law, right? Men write the law, but of God. And that's how you end the chapter. That's what he ended with. Now, if you scroll up and you look at the question he was answering, he said, so you won't be able to boast of yourself. Now this how you go back to 23, it says, thou that maketh thy boast of the law, thou through breaking the law dishonorest thou God. So he explained why he allows everyone in who boast on God, for they are Jews on the inside. For your blood do not make you a Jew. Your heart and your spirit is. So, like it says, as it ended, we were talking about circumcision. So when your pressure or your stress in life, like for example, when your pressure is going wrong in your house, and you got too much pressure or too little pressure, whichever one, you have to go to the basement where the main is. The part that carries all the water, the heart. And you have to cut out the old one, right? And put in a new one. And that will regulate your pressure for 5 years, or you should change every 5 years, right? But see, when you get a cut and a new PRV with God, it's engraved, it's on the inside, it will never leave. It will never leave. The things on the inside will never go away. Now in this perspective, the Jew is a person who has the PRV, right? But see, I go to some houses and they're so old, they don't never even had a PRV. They never even had their pressure under control. See, God just been controlling their pressure for many, many years. These houses, they've been controlled for many, many years. But see, eventually things build around you and you get higher pressure, right? So the Gentile is the one who never had a PRV, but see, as soon as they see a problem or something wrong, they call, and we put a PRV in to protect them. Theirs is already protected. They already have it in their house In this, it's already in them. They already know better. They already know that when the pressure changes, it's time to go to God and do what's right. They know that when the pressure changes, it's time to do what's right. It's time to do the good thing. When they notice a change in pressure, they do the good thing. They call the doctor and they get theirs changed. See, some people that already have the PIV, right? They'll say, well, it's not leaking. It's nothing wrong with it. Just fix some other problems. Like the Jew, I already have the law. There's nothing wrong with me. Go fix them other problems. Go fix someone else's problems, but not to let you know you're gonna continue to have to come to God. You continue, and your person do not make you God's child. The living makes you God's child. The good, the Spirit of God, the Spirit makes you God's child. Oh. So yeah, it's the Spirit that makes you God's child.